In this video, I'm going to explain to you this phrasing relationships cheat sheet. So you can see that it is divided into three columns. We have genitive, which is just of plus a noun. So you can see all the examples of here: body of sin, baptism of repentance, people of God. These are all constructions that are of plus a noun. The second column here is prepositions. These are just any relationship where it has a preposition plus a noun and its modifiers and so on. So, just looking in here, you see words like for, with, by, through, from, away from, for. These are all prepositions. And here's all their different types of relationships. Clauses are bigger than just little phrases. Like genitive and prepositions are usually just 2 to 3, maybe 4 words, where clauses and phrases can be whole sentences and so on. And so these are going to be the most important ones to um, to label. These are the most important relationships that you need to discover. And especially, you need to understand this third column in the clauses and phrases. And that is what I'm going to explain here. What do these in the third column, what does this mean? Where it has same, main, or sub. So we're going to start with sub. So here I have a sentence: run to the one that is talking to you. Run, and if we indent it under what it's modifying, it is modifying one. That is talking to you. This is an explanation. It is explaining who this one is through a relative pronoun. And we keep it as sub. If we go to explanation, all explanations are sub. They stay subordinate to what they're modifying. Another explanation, different type of explanation here. I know that I am saved. This is another explanation. It'll stay sub. And any of these relationships that have sub. So we have manner, instrumental, and so on. But explanation is going to be one of the most important, one of the most common. So I'm showing you this. This is maybe more rightfully called content as well. That's just more specific than explanation, but it is explaining what I know, or giving the content of what I know. And I just gave it another example of this down here. That explanation or content can also be speech. He said that I am free. This is the explaining what he said. Another subordinate relationship is a cause. Right here. Cause. We see that it's subordinate. And typically this is going to have because in it. I am saved because I believe. We would label this as cause. I am saved because I believe. And we keep it subordinate because this phrase is supporting this main phrase. That means that this has to be the most important phrase because it's being supported. This is the one being raised higher. Another example of a cause here: I rejoice for I am forgiven. And we would probably label this as cause, but think of for as kind of a mix between an explanation and a cause. It's kind of in between because and that. But typically it's best to label it as cause, but it doesn't really matter all that much because for is subordinate. Explanation and cause are both subordinate, so you're not going to change how you've indented this. Where how you label it matters is in where the other clause becomes either the main or it stays the same. So we're going to start with same here. scroll up here, we have a few here that are labeled as same. So I'm going to talk about a series first. So a series is like this. I like to run and I like to walk. Both of these are similar statements, and it doesn't matter how you arrange these, it's just giving two statements here. So it's not as if this one is subordinate. I like to run and I like to walk. It's not subordinate in any way. It's just giving two truths that are the same. So we would label this as series. These two are in series with one another. A similar relationship, but different, is progression. I went to run and then I walked. This is a progression. Again, not one of these is more important than the other. I went to run is not more important than I walked. But you can't rearrange these. Where like up here in series, I could say I like to walk and I like to run. It doesn't matter how I order these. They both stand independently. Where these, this gives a progression that I can't change the order. I went to run and then I walked. They have to stay in this order because that's what I'm trying to communicate. So this is a progression. There are times when a progression you are going to have to re-indent. And that's what I'm going to show down here. But, okay, so now let's look at contrastive. So notice how I said same or the second is main. And what I've given an example here is where the second becomes main. So if we indent, I don't just run for my health, but I like it. So here I would indent here at this phrase, and we can see that this second phrase is more important than the first. I don't just run for my health. That's not the main reason I run, but I run because I like it. So this becomes the most important point, and so you want to make it left of the preceding phrase. Another example down here is I exercised too hard and got hurt. I should label this. This is contrastive. Here we have a result. The result of me exercising too hard is that I got hurt. Even though it's just has an and here, there's an implied because I exercised too hard, the result of that is I got hurt. And so the result of something is more important than what happened. So here we keep result more left than the phrase before it. Another relationship that you keep left would be purpose. And that's what we have here. I run to feel God's pleasure. I run for the purpose to feel God's pleasure. So here we would go like this. I run, and the purpose of running is to feel God's pleasure. And lastly, we'll look at an inference. I run a lot, therefore I am healthy. So this is an inference, and typically it'll just be with therefore here. So I run, and then someone giving the conclusion of what's the consequence that I run a lot, therefore I am healthy. This is the reason why I am healthy. Therefore is actually kind of like the opposite of because. I could say up here, because I run a lot, I am healthy. Or I can say I run a lot, therefore I am healthy. So here, that is why we have to indent this one under this one, the first one under the second, because this one is the cause of this one. And so it is supporting, this one is supporting this second one.